It's overtime and Aditi's in. So the paid members that pay $4.99 a month, you're getting a real bargain for today's show. Because Aditi is, I think this might be the first time we've ever had Aditi.
No. I was in here the very first time when
and
the
you
show
stuck around for overtime then?
No,
there was no overtime.
We weren't doing overtime then.
I don't know if overtime existed.
Yeah.
First of all, before we get into Browns football talk, because of course Aditi is the sideline voice for the Browns in the preseason games. We'll see her tonight on the game. And we want to talk about the game a little bit and get your thoughts on that. But how have you been? Because I know you've been on the show, but I haven't seen you in, it feels like months.
Months and months and months.
Everything good? Summer good? Kids good? Life good?
I've tried to take up golf this summer.
Oh. Because you're a big tennis player.
I love playing tennis.
The number one most frustrating thing about the sport of golf is?
Everything.
Yeah, no, that's the right answer. That is the right answer, by the way. It's the one sport that the harder you try, the more you will suck.
You know what's so frustrating, too, is that I've deceived myself into believing that I am athletic and that, I've got this great tennis stroke and all that. So I go out to practice, I go out to lessons, I'm hitting these foam balls in my backyard, and I'm surprisingly good, Wow. I'm getting under the ball, I chip really well, I putt well.
Nice.
I went out to play my first 9 holes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was so awful.
Do you want to
I don't know. I don't even know what I shot because at some point it was like,
I always tell people when they start, play 10 rounds and don't take a scorecard.
We played 9 holes, and it was with another couple, and we were kind of playing best ball. So
good.
I just kept hitting my husband's balls, and he found it very amusing.
Pause. Every time you come in here, something like that happens.
Oh my
Remember the fishing pole story?
Oh,
you guys remember the fishing pole story? We haven't laughed as hard as we did when Aditi told the fishing pole story.
You little kids.
Oh my God.
I'm beginning to think that there's some of this that might be intentional.
In any case.
At any rate.
It's great to have you in. I can't wait to hear your voice on a regular basis because you're back with CBS.
I am back
and
with CBS.
hopefully you get some Browns games sprinkled into your schedule.
I do know that week 3, yes, I
Good.
will be on the sideline for CBS for Titans at Browns.
Does Joe Thomas now make you call him Hall of Famer Joe Thomas?
Joe Thomas has just been big-timing us ever since. We had a production meeting on Wednesday.
He's
and
been kind of busy.
Kevin Stefanski opened it up by saying, hey, are you guys sick of all this Joe Thomas Hall of Famer thing? And we're like, yeah, he's not even here. And Kevin's like, oh, surprise right there.
Well, we'll be watching tonight.
I have a great line, though, and you will watch tonight, so it'll come up again. But we got to talk to DeJuan Jones this week. I don't even know if I should say this, but whatever. It's overtime and it's special. Yeah. So we're talking to him, and his entire career, he's been a superstar.
Yes.
And now he comes in, and if all goes well for the Browns, he's not going to play this year.
He won't play.
But he's been extremely impressive. They're feeling so good about his future and who he will be. And his not playing, it's not a statement on him. It's on these unbelievably seasoned veterans that are there. So I say to him, obviously everybody wants to play. Everyone wants to start. But when you look at this line and this group of veterans, what's the silver lining in getting to be around them? And he's like, well, they are old. And he says, I've seen tape, I've seen film of Joel playing next to Joe Thomas, so he's got to be old.
Wow! Shots fired. That's true, though. It's true.
Isn't it?
And by the way, when you're 22, 30 is old.
Yeah.
Feels old.
I mean, it's not old, but yeah.
But I mean, Joel and Wyatt Teller and Jack Conklin.
Yeah, they've got miles on the tires.
I still don't like that they signed Jack Conklin to an extension. I thought that was a mistake.
I'm not going to comment on that at this moment because,
There's ways out of it.
It
it's
doesn't,
so, but it's such a funny line to dance right now, or dance just in general in this role, right? Like, we're talking to Cleveland fans right now, and every fan base in the country is so different. Some want the truth. Some don't. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers fans, they do not want to hear any truths ever.
Neither does this fan base, though, Aditi.
Right.
They do not want the truth.
I don't understand.
But I also feel like this fan base, I'm so sorry for cutting you off, but like this is almost the most alarmist, defeatist, let's go to half, glass not only half empty, but empty as anyone. Like, oh my God, Cade York.
I think
it's not just one mixed kick. It's like, he's a bust.
I think our fan base is very extreme both ways.
Yeah,
when it goes bad, it's the worst ever. When it goes good, it's we're going to be the best team in the history of football.
You really think so? Because
Yeah.
I feel like when it goes good, they're just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
are.
I'm like, just enjoy the ride for a little while.
You wouldn't know that by our chat room.
Well, and here's the problem too. It hasn't gone well enough.
Right.
So we don't even know how to act when it goes well.
We just wait.
That's true.
I mean, since the rebirth, we've had 2 double-digit win seasons, I think.
I never understand.
How is that even possible?
But to your original point, I never got fans wanting radio, TV people to be cheerleaders.
Listen,
In
I
terms
don't
of
either,
analyzing the
but
team.
they do.
If the Browns are in the Super Bowl and we're doing hype about that, yes, be a cheerleader.
Yes.
But if we're analyzing a game or a team's chances going into the season, I would always want the people
Give
that are
it to
talking
me straight.
to give the honest
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, and
but
that's
a lot of people think of this as entertainment, right? A lot of people feel like, okay, I'm tuning in for you to give me the analysis, but yet you still keep me entertained, right? And if you tell them all of the stuff, if you pound them all the time, and trust me, listen, they used to get on me all the time. I'm like, yo, G. Bush, I'm just keeping it real with you. I don't like what I see. And they're like, we know it's bad, but just give me like 2 things that I can
he's
look
right.
forward to.
This fan base wants they want the good stuff.
But see, I think that's the magic. I think the good stuff feels more powerful if not everything
Yeah.
is the good stuff. If
Yeah.
it's not all, like if
You have to
I'm
change gears
telling
to
you,
appreciate
yeah,
all
like
of
if
it.
I'm telling you this is what's alarming about the 3 running backs right now vying for the 3rd running back spot.
Right.
But then in the next note, I tell you this is why you shouldn't overreact to Cade York missing a 50-yard field goal. Then that'll have more credibility because I've told you the truth about the running backs. If all I'm giving you is everything's glorious
That's
and
exactly
perfect,
right.
It also-
then like you're not going to buy any of it.
It's also the messenger too. If the fan likes a messenger, then they'll, if they don't like people that don't like me, I could say 98 things good about a team and 2 things bad.
Yeah, but
They'll only
that's so
remember the 2 bad.
fickle, right?
Right,
Like
yeah,
I could
sure.
find you a Steelers fan that hates my gut and its guts, and I can
Right.
find you one that thinks
Those Steelers
that I
fans are
don't.
not that smart. Let's be honest. I mean, they're kind of.
I'm married to one. What about that?
No offense, but they're not the sharpest fan base on the face of the earth.
I will say,
I'm just gonna.
Okay, so let's talk about the
I gotta go
preseason
home
in
to
Wait,
general.
hold on. Before we do that, Aditi, so your husband's a Steelers fan. Your one daughter is a Browns fan.
I mean, committed Browns.
She was born in
fan.
Cleveland. How can
Her
she not?
son's a Bills
A Bills
fan.
fan.
Bills fan.
Die-hard Bills fan. Die-hard. He knows Kenny Pickett through me. Like a couple times he's interacted with him. And I was at a charity softball game. I was playing in Cam Hayward. Actually, this year I was hosting Cam Hayward's charity softball game. And so Nico is also a Pitt fan. So he's a Kenny Pickett fan. But he's a Bills fan, but he's also a Kenny Pickett fan.
Oh, wow, okay.
But like Kenny isn't his favorite quarterback, Josh Allen is. But anyway, so Nico goes to this game wearing a Kenny Pickett jersey and his Bills hat, of course. And he walks up to Kenny, and Kenny's like, "Oh, we got you out of the Josh Allen jersey."
Nice.
And then he's like, "But we couldn't get you out of the hat."
Yeah,
and
he's
Nico's
gotta
like,
hold on
"No."
to something.
if you're going to buy me one, we'll get it out of anything you want me to.
No, not my Nico.
yeah.
So Nico, there's this wonderful guy, Kyle McGowan, who works for New Era Caps, and he's a buddy of mine, and he's a Bills fan, and he lives up in Buffalo, and he loves the fact that I've got this kid who just turned 8, who's born in Pittsburgh, grew up in Pittsburgh, whose father is a Steelers season ticket holder, but since Nico was 2 years old, he has been committed to the Bills. So every year at the start of training camp, he sends a big box of the latest collection of Bills hats.
nice.
So Nico got, it does, but whatever. I think it's funny. So anyway, and Nico's so lucky. So Nico gets this box of 12 Bills hats before camp opens this year. And my 3-year-old opens that box, and she looks at me and she goes, "Where are my Browns hats?"
Good question.
That's a very good question.
Spoken like a true Clevelander, too.
I know. So
What
I had to
about
call
me?
Brad Mellon over at the Browns and say, I need a hookup here.
I need some
let's
gear.
I need some gear.
Don't be cheap,
Yeah.
Browns. That's
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of extra Bills hats, so you don't want one of those falling on her head.
Yeah,
bad enough to be cheap in
exactly.
the press box with the food. Let's go with the hats.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe we
so
had that.
on the preseason
Yes.
deal, everybody goes into it, and the Browns have their 1, 2, and 3 priorities.
Correct.
We talked at length today about the defensive line and the importance of the group collectively and individually. if you can, try to put into words what they've done specifically with all of the new additions to that line and what impact you think that will have on this team at the end of the season. Where are they going to be because of these changes?
Well, okay, so number one, obviously, Jim Schwartz is an addition that you cannot undersell.
The biggest addition, right?
I mean, in many ways, I think so. Didn't we talk about this on the show on Tuesday where Mikey asked me to rank, and I said that was the offseason move number one.
I agree with that.
I think it's his experience as a head coach for Kevin Stefanski to have him on one side and Bill Callahan on the other side in his building counts for so much. I think that his level of aggressiveness and accountability that he demands, his organization, his attention to detail, all of that. Again, not a knock on who was here before, but sometimes just you need a different sort of personality fit. There's a reason that every single defensive lineman who's ever played in his scheme talks about how much they love his defensive front, playing in that scheme, playing in that wide nine. And I think this is, as you're saying, he's going to roll 8 guys. He was going to roll 8 guys up front. We know, the Eagles showed us last year, you have to build from the line of scrimmage out. You need to win up front in the trenches. And we felt good about this offensive line for a few years, not necessarily this defensive front. Now we can feel so good about that defensive front. And look at, they're not standing still. Adding Shelby Harris, I think that when you're putting 2 pass rushers in the interior, that's going to be Zadarius and Shelby.
Right.
That's not like just some depth, whatever. This guy is going to be part of that rotation.
We got to see it on the field, but in terms of a paper, it's a million times better than
and it's, you know what, and I'll credit Joe Thomas for saying this. Sometimes when you have 2 pass rushers, like a Myles Garrett and a Zadarius, you've got 1 + 1 = 3. You know, like they are greater than the sum. The sum is greater than the individual parts.
You know, he's not a big moving piece, but as all of these pieces individually,
exactly.
I likened it to a good baseball team's bullpen, where you've got so much depth that you can go to almost player-specific situations. When you get in 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 2, you've got the packages. And that's
I mean, remember that last Giants team that I covered when they played that NASCAR defense so much, when they had the 4 defensive ends up front. I mean, they were killing everybody.
Hard to stop.
Sorry, I didn't.
I want to see this preseason. The one thing that I'm hoping we get a chance to see that we didn't in Game 1. I hope that we get to see Schwartz play his guys more than he normally would because of the fact that it's so chemistry-driven and combination-driven. I want to see these guys mix and match and how they're going to be used so they can build some chemistry that they can carry into Week 1 with Cincinnati and know what they've got. And I hope we're going to see that, but I don't know that we are.
I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you how much they will play, and I think that they do have an idea in mind of how many snaps, roughly, the starters will play. But as you know, it's kind of one of those, like, even if you say, okay, they'll play 20 snaps, well, what if they go on this great 6-play touchdown drive? We're talking about the offense. Or let's say if the defense forces Washington 3 and out, are you really throwing them out for a 3rd drive? And that's only been 6 snaps. You know, I don't know. Or, you know.
And we were talking about it. I think we're in lockstep saying that we don't need to see Nick Chubb play. Would you?
No, he's not going to play at all.
I don't expect him to, and I don't know why. And especially now when you've got Jerome Ford hurt. And I think that you were expecting to see him get a bunch of reps, not to prove anything, but just to get the reps, because he's a young player who's going to be in a new role. I think you've got a lot of questions with that 3rd running back spot. And do you need to go out and get someone? Bring in somebody? I do think they will.
Well, the dust has to settle on all these veteran running backs that are looking for jobs. At some point.
I don't think.
I mean, isn't the Kareem Hunt thing so weird? I mean, he left New Orleans even before he was done with that visit, and he got an offer in Indy, but walks out without signing that. And
I don't either. I just think we can't project what's going to happen with these guys.
I mean, Dalvin Cook,
Zeke could end up here.
For all you know.
I don't think that makes any sense, Zeke here.
Taylor left
camp. Listen,
I don't think it makes any sense.
On the Ford thing, I think it's very important that you have a viable backup running back. For a myriad of reasons, first of which, they get hurt.
But Zeke is not going to be happy being a backup.
I don't know that he's not going to be. I don't know. Remember, the last time we saw him, he was a center and got trucked.
I mean,
I mean, his
guy's been a starter his whole career.
I know, but
yeah, but where is he getting it? At some point, you have to acknowledge the market is what the market is.
It is. You're right.
Yeah, but like he can stand. I can stand up here as much as I want and say I want my own show. I want my own show. If nobody's giving me my own show, what can I do about it?
If I'm Ezekiel Elliott and I eventually have to settle to be a backup, I'm going to settle on a team that doesn't have as an established back as Nick Chubb.
Maybe, however, this is a team that has a track record of using two backs and using two backs very, very well.
But
right? Like you've got a guy like Mike Tomlin who likes one horse and he just runs his one horse.
Right.
You've got a team like the Ravens. You've got a team like the Ravens that will use 3 running backs.
Right.
And depending on the week.
Ezekiel Elliott, he's not like Kareem Hunt. He's not a shifty back. I mean, he's kind of more similar to Nick Chubb.
I don't think that what the Browns should look for, and this is just my personal opinion, is another every down, like maybe a John Kelly. I think that they should be looking more for that guy, who can be functional in pass pro.
Complementary style.
I'm interested in seeing what Demetri Felton does in this role with Deshaun Watson.
I am
he's
too.
More of that
he's going to play a lot.
We need to watch his pass protection.
Yeah.
And I love Felton.
Is that where he's weakest?
I love that he has toggled between the running back and wide receiver room. I love that he is willing to do everything he can. He is such a personable, lovely young man to talk to. He's got to improve his pass pro. You've got to, especially if you're putting him in on third down, especially if
That's a big part.
All right. Any other issues? Anything that you want to bring up about this team? Where they are? Are we in a good place? Give it to us straight.
I'm hesitant to do this, but I just feel a lot of excitement around this team. I feel that the entire operation right now, when you go from front office to coaching staff to the makeup of the roster, is really a good working unit. I think that there is veteran leadership in guys like Juan Thornhill and Zadarius Smith and Rodney McLeod, veteran loud leadership, I love to say that you have to lead how you are. We can't expect Myles Garrett to be somebody that he's not, but you still need a certain type of guy.
Someone's got to be that guy, yeah.
And those guys are those guys.
Right.
I love Bubba Ventrone coming in. I think this is a guy who did it here in this city, who knows how to relate to younger guys. I mean, when you think of special teams, and I may even say this if I have a chance on the broadcast at some point this week or next, a lot of these guys that are going to have to make this team on special teams probably never played teams in college. So this is totally new for them, right? Because they were stars in college. But here, to make an NFL roster, they're going to have to contribute on special teams. So you need somebody to convey to them how important and vital, how this really truly is 1/3 of the game.
Right.
And I think Bubba's that guy.
He feels like that guy because that was his life.
Exactly.
And I
so
love
you've got
I love
that
the
credibility.
Belichick side of him too. I just,
Yeah, and I just, it's funny because last night I got to catch up with one of my buddies, Jeff Scanina, who is the D-line coach for Washington. And Jeff Scanina played in the league for 17 years. In fact, I think he is the oldest defensive tackle to ever play in the National Football League. So 17 years, played in the league. And we were just talking about, as much as you hate to admit it, he steps in that room. His defensive linemen, they're not complaining to him. Chase Young, Montez Sweat, they're not looking at him and telling him this is too hard. Because he'll tell them, oh yeah, I had 3-a-days, fully padded in my time. And I did it for 17 years and you're on year what? So to that point, I think that as much as I hate when someone says to a reporter like me, well, you never played the game, I think in coaching, it is a plus. I think the fact that Bubba Ventrone was there in this very city playing special teams resonates.
I think he's got upside down the road as a defensive coordinator and maybe a head coach.
He played it at a high level, too. He was a great special teams player. Have you interacted with Watson at all?
Deshaun this year?
Yeah.
Not this year yet.
I thought he played with no confidence last year, right? He had his swag was gone. That edge that he had, that was part of the reason he was so good, was gone. Is there a sense that that's back? Does he have his confidence?
Okay, so I haven't personally talked to him yet. I will tonight. But talking to a lot of other people, it's been likened to the 600-pound weight off of his shoulders.
Yeah.
I mean, when we
Getting
think
the court
about
stuff behind
when we look at last year, not only is it the layoff, not only is it the stress of engineering a move, getting to a move, not only is it all of the baggage of everything off the field and what is the suspension going to be and what are the lawsuits and how do you handle and manage all of that. Not only is it the start of therapy as opposed to being this far into where he is. Not only, and they handled it tremendously well, but Jacoby was the leader of the team for a while. He
was.
And he was trying to co-lead, but also not step on Jacoby's toes. And then all of a sudden he's replacing Jacoby, who was, as Kevin called him, a Hall of Fame teammate. Now
we'll see him
he is
tonight.
the unquestioned leader.
Right.
There is no, I need to navigate this in any way.
Yes.
Almost all of the court stuff is behind him. Obviously, some of it is still there. The suspension is behind him. The interaction with Kevin and what he wants in the offense is not, okay, we're putting it in, then we're taking it out, now that we're putting it in. The line is not having to block for a guy who was extremely disciplined in exactly what his drop was and exactly when the ball came out, whereas Deshaun is much better at off-schedule things, and the line is now used to that.
And he's not
going
getting asked
from-
about it anymore by the media. Not,
I think that's a
Yeah,
big part.
Will a
is
little bit
nobody?
here and there.
Is no one asking him about
I'm
it?
sure.
He dealt with it on day one.
Yeah.
They got their
I'm sure there'll be some national media members that will come in on occasion, but the local media, nobody here cares, wants to talk about it anymore.
Did people talk to him about Roger Goodell's hug and how that like turned into
I
a
don't
little
know
side
that.
story?
No, not
saw
not that
that.
I heard.
Yeah,
not
they
that I
were
heard.
passing.
No. One last question because we got to go. Was the trip to West Virginia and the getting away and the whole idea of becoming a team and bonding, was it successful?
From what I was told, yes.
Good, great. I like to hear
good.
that. Okay.
Thanks.
Aditi, great to have you in studio.
Thanks so
great
much
to
for
have you back
having me,
in our
guys.
regular rotation.
Thanks,
You're
Chief,
on-
for letting me have just,
you're welcome.
half an
What's your
hour with the belt.
What day's your day during the week going to be? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Every Tuesday you'll be with UCSS, and we'll be watching you on Sundays from CBS sidelines. Thrilled that you're back in that role.
Awesome.
And can't wait to see you tonight, and I can't wait to hear you ask Watson what's up with the cap.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's time for lunch.
Am I allowed to tell him
Let's
it's
go.
Jay that really wants to know?
There's the
Do I
hat.
get lunch?
You want to come for lunch? Do you eat?
Of course I am. What are you talking about?
Straw.
Salad.
Straw and hay.
So now I look like a horse?
Just so tofu. My goodness.